For the meditation to become a divine conduit, one of the things that people worry about with channeling is they worry that a blocked chakra is going to just gum up the works. But there's a few things like you don't need to worry about any blocked chakras. Blocked chakras are usually chakras that are being protected for the moment because they're a little injured. Like when you break your arm, you put on a cast. You know, you're not going to then use your arm full strength. That doesn't mean you can't go for a walk in the woods or go to work or hang out with your friends. It means that you're not going to be playing baseball, you know, at that moment. But you might still play soccer, who knows? It means that this area of your body is being temporarily protected. It's the same with our energetic being. There are people say, oh, I would love to channel, but I can't because my throat chakra is blocked and my solar plexus chakra is blocked. So therefore, before I can do anything, I have to go and I have to do some work where I go and I delve back into the issues that cause me so much pain and relive them and reclaim myself and reheal. I'm like, oh my God, that sounds awful. If you want, you can do that. I have no interest in doing that. There are techniques for healing chakras that are blocked, and I have some meditations for them on my YouTube channel. I mean, honestly, if you break your arm, you don't need to relive breaking your arm and lying there screaming in pain as your bones sticking out of your flesh for the arm to heal. You heal your arm. Many times, blocked chakras are blocked to protect them from being harmed. The most common is the throat chakra. Many of us who are intuitive, when we're young and we don't know any better, we're like, oh, hey, Mom, there's this angel who asked me to tell you, whack, you know, whooped upside the head, or sent to our room. Or when I was a child, my mother had no problem with my interdimensional way of being. She was completely cool with that. But if I would, like, you know, speak to someone's emotions or the cloud of thoughts that's floating over their head when I'm not supposed to and I'm socially impolite, I would get into trouble. And it was really difficult for me as a young child to know when is it appropriate to respond to the information coming to me, i.e. words out of someone's mouth, and when is it inappropriate, i.e. the memory of what they were doing just before they showed up into my environment, or the emotions they're carrying within them, or the fears and trauma that are hanging behind them, or the secrets, like they're sleeping with their best friend's wife, or, you know, stuff like that. No one wants an 8-year-old girl to respond to all of that. So I closed off my throat chakra. We were working with dragon medicine yesterday. For me, I am, you know, I've always worked with dragon. I have this dragon who's a great protector of mine that protects, like, in the outer atmosphere of my being. But when I need protection in the here and now, the dragon's immediately there. And I had a dragon wrapped around my throat. So one day I was working with my dear friend, Nanette Davidson, who is an angelic healer. And she said, look at your blocked throat chakra. And I said, yeah. And she said, what do you see? I'm like, oh, there's a dragon wrapped around. She said, you need to release the dragon. And, you know, so I did. And the dragon immediately went out there. And suddenly my throat chakra was not blocked. And it helped with my clarity of sight, because I was able to, again, see what I had. It wasn't just blocking the words from coming out. It was also blocking my sight of the things that would make unfortunate words come out, that would get people would say, get out of my head, you're such a psycho. And I'm like, no, I'm psychic. Oh, ick. Yeah. And And then I also learned just because I see things does not mean, now, I'm older, I have discernment. And I've also learned not to look at everything. Like I'm looking in this room, I'm not seeing anything but the people here because there's no need for me to look into it. I've also learned where I wish to put my focus and my direction. Just like I'm not aware of anything behind me, even though I know there's some juice and some furniture. I'm not aware of it. Well, I mean, I guess I am because I spoke about it, but um, with the release of my dragon and with my dragon returning to the outer stratosphere, it allows me to be protected on the outer stratosphere, and my throat chakra became unblocked. There was no trauma to heal, no having to go and relive, being sent to my room to think about what I just said. And there's no emotional connection to any of that. That was just part of my growth for this life. Now, some people work with dragon. I learned from Azure because we think like, oh, if I have it, then this is normal for everyone. That I know everyone has guardians and guides and mentors that are like eternally with us, but others they show in like might be angelic, in which case you may have a bird with wings wrapped around you, like a bird of paradise with wings wrapped around his head, or maybe like. So whatever is your protector, accept them in the form they come through at the moment. And you may have different protectors for different chakras depending on the time when the chakra decided to close off. But it's not necessary to even worry about any of that when you're channeling, because channeling isn't at all about you. It's about you inviting someone to come in and share space with you. They don't care about your blocked chakras because they're there for them, right? So you don't need to worry about healing or anything. When we do the grounding meditation, what I will say is, we open our root chakra and then we open our crown chakra and then we let the divine energy flow through us. I always start in this situation with the root chakra because you want your root chakra to be wider than your crown chakra. Now, if you are channeling the lower realm, then you may find your crown chakra needs to be wider than the root because the energy is going this way. So as I do the meditation, if you find naturally you need to reverse that, go with what comes naturally for the energy flow. But if we're opening up for people who have passed or cosmic beings, and they come in through your nice wide crown chakra, and then you close it off at like your sacral chakra, like right here in your gut, all this energy will come in and it hits a point, and then what? That's when you start getting like the vertigo, the spins, the nausea, the headache, and you feel like there's a tornado inside you. So you open up your root chakra and all the energy flows through into earth. You are the hollow bone, the divine conduit. The energy is flowing through you. The wider you make your root, the more your crown can expand. And the more your crown expands, the more your root gives a solid base and expands. One exercise I recommend everyone do every day is do just that, opening your root, opening your crown. And when I say that, actually, you don't open it. You give it permission to take action on its own. It's sort of like bringing a little mindfulness meditation. We don't need to micromanage our divine connection. The divine connection will flow. We open up and allow. So as you are opening up, you may feel like some people feel pressure in their third eye, or they get like stabbing pains in their head or tension. This is often like when a friend sneaks up behind you and taps you on the shoulder and you go, ah! It's in a way our body responding to energy coming in. It immediately gives little micro tensions or responses. Give it permission to release and relax on its own. We don't need to micromanage our body. Everyone, everything wants to be acknowledged. No one wants to be overlooked, including microtensions. But when we acknowledge them and give them permission to be in charge of their own being, they're happy to get along and go with the beautiful sacred flow. Does that make sense? So we're going to do a meditation to open up. I will invite someone, anyone to come through me. We'll see. I'll tell you, the librarians, I've already forbidden them from doing one thing. The Akashic Record librarians, they have such a quirky sense of humor. They already said to me that they're going to come in and pretend to be a dragon, and they're going to be like, rah, rah, and then they're going to crack up laughing and then announce who they are. Yeah, and I'm like, don't do that. They wanted to do it yesterday in the middle of the dragon ceremony. I'm like, no, we're not making this all about you guys. And that's the thing. When you're channeling, sometimes you need to let whoever's coming through know when it's appropriate or inappropriate. If they're waking, right? If they wake you up 3 a.m. every night in order to take down messages, let them know you need to do this at a time that works for all of us. How about 7 a.m. when I first wake up? They don't have a sense of linear time like we do. They come through when it's comfortable for them to come through. The middle of your dream time, it's very comfortable for them to come through. They don't understand, no, I need to get my solid, X amount of hours sleep so I can function. So you just let them know this is the time, and they'll work with you on that. Okay. So, throughout this process, you can have your eyes open or closed. When I'm channeling, have your eyes open or closed. But while I'm channeling, feel welcome to be receptive to whoever. You may find some of your connections are chatting with you about what's coming out of my mouth. They may even make fun of whoever is speaking through me. That's all in good fun. That's perfect. Most of the time when I'm speaking with my non-physical friends, I'll find my thoughts will come out of the front left side of my head, and their information will come in the back right side of my head. So if you ever wonder, is this me just talking to myself, or is it them? Be aware of where is this hitting in my head? Where is this hitting in my mind? Where does it resonate? How is it coming in? I know that I'm not outside here speaking in my ear. So if someone's out here speaking in my ear, it's whoever it says, to be. The space here is very sacred, so you don't need to worry about any, bugaboos or just open up. Whoever comes in, I promise will be sacred and divine. Okay, so everyone, breathe however you like to breathe. And give your feet permission to relax. And in whatever way you sense, emotionally, visually, feel the energy flowing through your feet into earth. It may seem like water is flowing through you and creating a pool or a lake around your feet. It may feel like tree roots are growing through you deep into earth, or you may see light flowing through you. Just give your feet permission to relax and let the energy flow. If you suddenly feel any queasiness in your stomach, give your stomach permission to relax and flow into the feet. And as your feet are relaxing, you'll notice the top of your head automatically and naturally starts to feel very light, possibly a little tingly or airy. You can give your crown chakra, the top of your head, permission to open up and relax. and to allow energy to flow in through the top of your head, all the way down through your head, through your body, down through your hips, your legs, down to your feet, where it expands out and flows into our beautiful divine Pachamama to gobble up and turn into earth healing energy. For our beautiful Gaia, our divine Mother Earth, to all the earth magic and the spirit beings of our planet. And you'll notice that the more your root chakra relaxes and expands, the more your crown chakra relaxes and expands. And the more energy can flow through your beautiful, blessed, sacred, divine body. You don't need to worry about any blocks. The energy knows how to flow, and it will flow around or through, or even pick these blocks up and wash them away, like a river flowing down a mountain. And breathe. And you notice you no longer even need to give permission. Your feet, your root chakra are relaxing and expanding, and your crown, the top of your head is relaxing, energy is flowing. And you'll notice how, as your crown is relaxed and flowing, the beautiful divine energy that's coming into you is so pure and filled with joyous love. You are welcome to invite any who wish to share a message with you or connect with you. If you'd like, you may set parameters. I welcome all who wish to share a joyous, loving message, to connect with me or flow your energy through me. All who resonate to the frequency of my best, greatest love. All who resonate to the frequency of my higher self and my past lives, my guardian angel and my soul family, my most loving and benevolent, helpful guides and guardians. I welcome you all to connect with me and flow through me, to share your energy and frequencies with me, and to flow your love most joyously into my being, fill my being, and emanate outward to all who need, desire, and will appreciate and accept your best good wishes and most joyous love. And feel welcome to resonate with your open-hearted, loving connections. I will invite someone to speak through me. Good afternoon. It is a pleasure to breathe oxygen through physical lungs again. I thank all who are here today, as your purity and your goodness of heart has created sacred space that allows me to come through with such comfort and grace. You know me best, as the father of Yeshua, Jesus, whom many of you have strong feelings for: love, hate, belief, disbelief, profound questions of all the harm done in his name, profound goodness that flows through his healing. Many of you know my wife, the Blessed Mary, who has many churches in her name, and many who wear her image in necklaces about their neck and have altars to her. I infrequently return to this realm. My work is more suited to other places where I can infuse light-filled grids to send power down to your planet, to aid with the work that my family does here in this heavy, dense, desolate place that you call home. I'm grateful to be here now. I wish to share a story with you of how I raised my son to be the man I hoped he would be when he was a child. He was a peculiar child, you understand. He was small for his age, but he had so much power in his being that he could walk into a room and others would step back from the intensity of his presence. And they would respond to this intensity as though he were a grown man, not a 4-year-old, 6-year-old, a slip of a boy who did not know any better because, of course, he was not born with understanding of who he was or his previous lives or his purpose for being. He was a child who wanted to play with a stick and a ball. He was a child who wanted to learn the craft that his father did. He was a child who wanted to play with other children, children who often were intimidated by his energy, children who often would choose to beat him and spit upon him instead of getting to know him as the human boy. It was a terrible reckoning for him to learn to merge his tiny being with his huge essence. And it was my responsibility as his father, who even at that time I did not fully know the purpose for our being. We all learned all of this later, of course, but at that time, we were on our blind path, just as each of you are on yours. And I would have to teach my son skills to hone his frequency and direct it so that the rest of him could be relaxed and childish. He would often, as a child, do this. He would hit himself on his head and face. Sometimes he'd even try to punch himself in the eye or beat himself on his arms, or he would grab himself so hard he would leave finger-shaped bruises on his arms. And I said to him, "Child, why do you hurt yourself?" And he said, "This is to prevent others from doing this to me." And I said, all you do is invite this energy to your being. When you self-abuse, You give all permission to abuse you. He thought if he was humble, if he dejected himself, then others would say, oh, he's not so bad. And they would accept him at a low, insignificant level and overlook him. And I tell you, I look in this room and I see many who would rather abuse yourself than step into the glory of your nature. And I tell you, false modesty is even worse than arrogance. Because at least those who are arrogant are going forward with a vision. With false modesty, with, oh, shucks, I'm not so good. Or, oh, I received a message, but I don't wish to share this. Accept yourself. I tell you, accept yourself, claim yourself, be yourself. Be true to yourself and go forward with love. It took me 10 years to teach my child that lesson. I ask you to learn this in 1 minute. Learn this now. Who you are in your internal being is who you are meant to be. And when goodness rises up, when blessings spill from you, do not turn your back upon yourself. And now, I am wearing this body. I send you love and blessings from myself, from my family, from my friends, and from the stars and the grids that we create to shine loving light down upon your planet, that each of you is invited to grab onto and let that energy flow through you for healing and divine mercy and fullness of blessings. Amen. Aho. May goodness be within you. My conduit says, take this moment and connect with those who are here for you. Open your mind and receive a message. I know at this moment each of you has a loving God who is sharing a message, whispering in your ear, downloading into your brain, filling your heart. Accept this and let it go within you. Embrace. Embrace the message. Embrace yourself. Farewell. For now. You are open and receiving. Be receptive to whatever comes into you, be it words, emotions. Allow the top of your head to just be wide open, and your roots be wider, so all the divine energy can flow lovingly and joyously through your being. Allow your senses to be relaxed and receptive. Whatever comes through will be a beautiful message for you. Invite it to come in, unfold, and expand. your message giver for any guidance for you with this process of being an open channel, a divine conduit. Do they have any suggestions on receptive techniques or how best to receive what you are? Any gifts for you? Sacred blessings? And whatever way feels comfortable. Share love, gratitude, and grace with that you are connecting with. And they are welcome to stay, but now is the time for you to fully come back into your physical being. You can leave your conduit state open, your feet relaxed in your crown. But as you are open, you're still returning to your physical body. You might go wiggle a little. Breathe.